Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to add a calendar to your VBA user forms. Before we do that, go to Excel VBA SQL. There's over 20 hours of video lessons. You could become an expert in Excel VBA for free. You could download all the files you see in the video, put your email in here, and you'll receive an email when free videos go up, and contact me here if you have any questions. So let's get started. So we want to put a calendar on a user form. So first thing we need to do is create a user form. So let's go into the Visual Basic environment here, and then let's insert a form. So insert user form. Now this a form popped up, and there you see a folder for forms, and there's my user form. I'm going to change the name to it. Change the name to cal form, and oops, let me change it. I'll put my cal form. And let me also change the caption here to select a date. So now we have a form that looks like this. There's select a date on top, and the name of that form is my cal form. Now let's insert a module, and let me write a subroutine sub my cal, and all I want to do is I want to show this form, so I do my cal form dot show. Now when I run this, it's going to show the form. I'm invoking this show function on this calendar object. Or not on this calendar, on this form object, I'm sorry, because all we have is a form right now. So here's my form, and here you see a caption. So now we want to add a calendar to this form, and to do that, I'm just going to make it a little bigger. We go to the toolbox up here. You click that, and you'll see the controls, all these controls. If I scroll over them, none of them are the calendar control. So to get additional controls, you right click on the toolbox and go to additional controls. When you do that, there's all these other controls that become available. The one that we want is this calendar control 12. And if I click OK, here is a calendar. So now if I click that and I then click the form, I have what you see here. There's a calendar. Real easy, really cool. It adds it really fast. It's pretty cool how Microsoft puts all these controls available at your fingertips. So now we have to do some things. What we want to do is, let's first run this to show you what it looks like. So when we run it, there's our form, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, in about less than 20 seconds or so, we added it, and now it's showing up on a form. So I want to show you how you would use this calendar control in different scenarios. Before we get to selecting dates and things like that, let me just show you the properties window of this calendar. So if I click on the calendar, it becomes active in the properties window, and now I could do a bunch of things. I could name the calendar. I could name it my cal. And here we have a property called day. Well, it automatically defaults to the current day. Here we have a property called day font, and you could change this. I could click on that little box here. I could make it bold 14, and I could even underline it. I'll click OK. So now my day font here is what you see here is now bold and it's underlined. Day font color, again, I could select the color, so I'll select like green. Now my days are green up here. Day length, not really sure what this one does. I don't think it's used very often. First day, right now you see the first day on the left hand side is Sunday. You could select Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you select Friday, then Friday is your first day on the left hand side here. I'll change it back to Sunday. Grid effect is raised. You could change this to flat or sunk. It just changes these grids here. So it looks like that flat. If I raise it, it has a raised gridded cell effect. Grid font. So this is going to change. Let's see, the color of the days here, I believe. So if I click OK and I select bold 14, now all my days are bold and they're size 14. And grid font, I can select a color like red. And then grid lines color, I could select something else for this, blue. Then you can select the height of your calendar, the position. I believe that's the position that it appears when it pops up. Actually, I'm not sure what that means. I mean, you could look into these properties. I'm not going to go over them all in detail and try to figure out which everyone means. I'm going over the main ones that are significant in terms of formatting and things like that. So here we have a month property. That's important because 7 is July. Notice that up here with the day again, we have the current day. It's defaulted to the current day. It's defaulted to the current month. Show date selectors. These are the date selectors up here. If you change this to false over here, then those do not appear anymore. So it does give you a lot of options in the properties. It says show days. You could say false, and then you don't see that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday up top. If we put that back to true, those days are back. Show horizontal grid, show title. Show title means this July 2011 will show or not show. What else? What else is important? Title font. So we could change the title font to bold, and we can make it 22, and that'll change. July 2011 became bigger. Value. So we're going to use this value field here. Now, value is the actual date of the calendar. So that's what we're concerned about. This is probably the most important property of this calendar, is the value property, which is going to give us any date someone selects. What else? You have back color here. So if you want to change the back color of your calendar, I'll select like a light orange. Now my calendar is light orange. And if I run this now, all those formatting effects are in place, and there you see it. So the properties window allowed us to change all these colors and grid lines and the date show or not show, and what date is on the left here. Is it Sunday or Friday or whatever? Notice that when you select something on the calendar, it highlights the day you clicked. And if you select a different month, it changes the month, changes. If you change a year, it changes the year, and if you select a different month, it changes the month, and it all happens pretty quickly. And you could just keep clicking down, and notice that it scrolls through the months. I'm just clicking this 24. Now if I click 8, it went into that new month. Notice the months are highlighted in red here. The days that are not in the month are grayed out. Okay, so we see how this calendar works. We could select a month and a year. We can click on stuff, and it'll move to the next month if necessary. And cool. So the whole point of what we want to do is that we want to be able to hold on to whatever the user has selected here. Hold on to the date. So if they select January 18th, 2013, we want to know that. So we want to store that in a variable. So we can do that pretty easily by going here and double clicking on the calendar. So I'm going to double click on the calendar, and we have private sub mycal.click. And what that means is when you click on the calendar, this is what is going to happen. This is an event in the calendar object. It has all these events. So we're going to use this click event so that when we click on it, we could track what value they selected. So what we can do is this. We could do range. Actually, no. We'll declare a dates dim d as date. And then I'm going to declare some integers. Dim integer. Dim m as integer. That'll stand for month. M stands for month. D as integer, that stands for the day, and y as integer. So what we want to do is hold all the values that the person is selecting in these variables. So to do that, we can do this. We could do d is equal to mycal.value. Remember that value property we saw down here that holds a date? Well, that's what we're doing. We're assigning that date in that mycal.value field and putting it in this D variable, which is a date variable. So now we have that in a variable. I want to do the same thing for month, so I'll do m is equal to mycal.month. I'll do dd is equal to mycal.day, and y is equal to mycal.year. So remember, these mycal.month, mycal.day, mycal.year, they're all over here in this properties window. Here's the day, here's the month, and here is the year. So all I'm doing is I'm able to hold on to these things by accessing them, doing them. Here's the object. I want to access the property, so I use this dot operator here, and I throw it into a variable that I set up. Now what I can do is do this. I could do range. I mean, at this point, that's really what this video wanted to show you, is this part right here, how you can grab things from the calendar. You can access the value, which is the date, the month, year, and day. And now I would just want to show you could do stuff with them. So I'm going to put them in cells here. So I'm going to put, here's D. I'm just going to copy this. And all I'm doing is now taking things that are on the calendar and I'm putting them on a worksheet. But you could do anything with them. You could manipulate them. You could do anything. So let's run this. Notice what I'm doing. I'm grabbing the date from the calendar here, and I'm also grabbing the particular month of that date, the day of that date, and the year of that date, and then I'm putting those values in cell A1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I run this, if we go over here, if I select something, if I click on it, look what happened. Now all those fields are populated. Let me expand this real quick, as you can see. So there's 7/12/2011. This is the month, this is the year, and this is the day, and that is all coming from what you see here. Here's the date. Here's the date, the month, the day, and the year, and I'm putting them in the ranges A1, 2, 3, 4. Day, the day variable, the month variable, the year variable, and the day variable. This is actually the date, the value up here. So let's do it again. Click play. I'll bring it over here. You can see as I click on the calendar, all this data changes. Now we have 7/4/2011. If I click over here, I have 8/6/2011. If I click again, 8/7/2011, 8/22. If I click down here, 9/5. You see it's automatically updating the worksheet based on whatever I'm clicking here on this calendar. If I change to a different month and click the calendar, it goes 4/6/2011. So it works. Change to a different year, select the calendar, it's working. So this is a real easy way for you to allow the users to select dates. Don't try to build one of these on your own unless you need to. I mean, it's not everything you want. Maybe you want to customize it in certain ways. You can't do that really. It has its limitations, but 99% of the time this will be sufficient to get you where you need to go. So use that. One other thing I want to show you is what can you do with the dates that you're pulling. Let's say you needed to get this date. Let's see. Let me try to format this. Yeah, I guess we could do it this way. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. I should show you one more thing though. Okay, one quick thing. Let's let's say you have this date here, and let's say you have three integers that stand for a month, a day, and a year. How do you construct a date? Let's assume that we don't have this date variable here. This is kind of a tangent, but I think it's good to show you working with dates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do dim d2 as date, and I want to do d2 is going to be equal to, I want to construct a date. I just want to show you how to do that because it's good to know. So I'm going to do date serial, and then this you pass in a year as an integer, a month as an integer, and a day as an integer. So I have that. I could pass in the y variable, the m variable, and the dd variable. And now I could do range a5 is equal to d2. So you can see that you could construct a date. You could construct a date with integers like this using this date serial function. I wanted to show you that so that you know how to do that when you're working with dates. So construct a date. And I also wanted to, let me run this, and if I hit this, you know, there's my constructed date right here, 7/4/2011. This is a date variable now. It has a date data type. And I just wanted to show you how you can construct a date data type out of integers. Use that date serial function. And while we're on that topic, I'll show you how to add days to your add a day to the dates. So to do that, let me do D3. I'll just do another date variable. And I want to show you how to, say today is the 13th, you want to have a variable that has whatever the next day is. So you can do that by doing this, date add. And if I click this, if I bring up a parentheses, it says what is the interval? Well, the interval is going to be DD. That stands for date. And the number, that's going to be 1. And then the date is going to be a date variable. So you put D2 in. And now we could put this in a cell. And if we run this now, we scroll over here, whatever I select in this cell A6, I should see the next day. Let me debug this. Maybe this is just D. I believe it's just D. So there we go. Okay, so if I select July 11th, this July 12th right here, this date comes from me using this date add function, which you see right here. If I wanted to add 100 days instead of just 1, I can do that real easily just by changing this second parameter. You know, the first parameter says, what are you adding to the date? Is it a day? Or I believe if you put M in here, it'll be a month. Let me run that and see if that's true. Yes, it's true. So I wanted to add 100 months, and to do that, I said, what is the interval? Well, it's a month. I want to add 100 months, so that's what this means. 100 months versus 100 days would be like this if you put a D. If you run it now and you select July 4th, well, this is 100 days plus, actually I select June 27th. I have 100 days added on to June 27th, so that's plus 100 days. You could do years, I think, by changing the interval here to Y. If you run it, maybe years. So I have to investigate. Maybe years is different. Hey, let's see. So if I, yeah, okay. So I put in 100 years to add 100 years, and I don't think it liked adding 100 years because it certainly, let's see. Well, I'll stick with a day and a month now. I'll look into the year, but the point is, this date add function allows you to add intervals of days, month, and years to whatever date. So here's the date. Here's what you want to add to it: a day, a month, or a year. And here's the number of days, month, or years you want to add. And if you want to go backward in time, you just go negative. So put this number as a negative, and then when you run it, you could see that 10 days from 7/3 is 6/23. So it works, and you could do things like that. Let me try the year again because it's kind of let's try that. Let's see. I'm just going to Google this real quick. I know it might be frustrating for you, but this is actually how I would look into it. I'm just going to put in date, VBA date add year. Oops. Okay. So the reason it wasn't working is you need to. Okay. You need to have the Y. That's why. Okay. But anyways, here's a cool site that has, here's all the intervals that you could add. You can add a year to your date. You could add a quarter, a month, a day, a week, an hour, a minute, a second. So you could add all these things to this function. You could add seconds, hours, minutes, whatever you want. So let me go back here. Click on this. Actually, stop this. And now if I go here and I put Y, and I want to go backwards 10 years in time, then this is going to work, and I'll select September 12th, and there you go. It goes back 10 years in time. So that's really what I wanted to show you in this video, is how to deal with dates and how I would do it. If you're going to have a lot of date functionality in your programs, definitely use these calendar controls. And remember, when you want to use the calendar control, if you don't see it over here in the toolbox, right click and go to additional controls and select this calendar control, whatever version you have. Very powerful to use these calendar controls. And then once you want to do something with the dates, double click on the calendar, and you will get this automatic Excel event of calendar_click, and you can then grab the date using this mycal.value and put that into a date variable, and then it's up to you. You could do whatever you want with it. You could even separate out the month, day, and the year like we did, put it on the worksheet. If you need to ever construct a date from integers, use this date serial. That'll do it for you. And if you ever need to add dates, add time intervals to your date, you could add days, month, years, quarters, like we saw, weeks, hours, seconds, minutes. You could add anything you want. So it's very powerful to be able to do something like this. So what I'm going to do is post all this code on excelvbasequel.com. You could download all the code, come and watch 20 plus hours of video, put your email in here again, and sign up to get these free videos, and contact me here if you have questions about anything, and I'll get back to you. So until next video, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.